Hey guys, it's the Doofer here. In the last episode of Apptastic, I gave you guys my thoughts on game loss adaptation of The Dark Knight Rises for iOS, which turned out to be ace, and this week we're looking at another mobile title starring another famous comic book character, the amazing Spider-Man. The game is based on the film of the same name, which hit cinemas recently, and sees good old Spidey back to what he does best, swinging around New York City using icky web-like stuff that comes out from his wrists. Ew. One of the best aspects of this game is that, like the console's Spidey titles, it lets you explore and swing around New York freely. You'll never get bored of soaring through the city skylines, scaling buildings, and just generally messing around. It really is ridiculously fun. The graphics are quite decent too, and the in-game representation of New York really does look and feel like New York. Sadly though, it's not all good, because once you've gotten over the novelty of being able to explore the Big Apple at your leisure, you'll find that the actual game itself is a bit repetitive. Just like the combat system, for instance, which works similar to the one in The Dark Knight Rises, with one button used for attacking and one for blocking. It's functional, sure, but fights are just downright boring because they essentially just involve attacking, just mashing the attack button over and over again until all of the baddies are out cold on the floor and left with migraines for the rest of the week. The main story missions are decent though, of which there are 25, but the side missions are a whole different ballgame. Just like the combat system, a lot of the side quests are immensely repetitive and samey, and there really isn't much variety at all. It's a shame really, because if there was a bit more varied, then it would have so much more potential to vastly extend the amount of playtime that you'll get out of the game. And don't get me started on the voice acting. It's really, really cheesy. Cringe-worthy stuff that will make you wish that Spidey himself would shoot some webbing onto your ears so you can't hear it. Though I suppose you could just turn the volume down instead. Yeah, that's probably a tad more sensible. So overall then, the amazing Spidey-Man isn't really quite as amazing as its name would suggest. It's not a terrible game by any means, but it's just not a brilliant one. If you fancy donning the red and blue spandex yourself, you can download the game for the iPhone, iPad or iPod Touch right now from the iTunes store for £4.99. Next up, we've got a look at Fish Lab's Galaxy on Fire. Galaxy on Fire 2 is the sequel, to Galaxy on Fire, and it's a sci-fi title that sees you pilot a fully customizable spaceship through the galaxy in a far-off future, free to do whatever takes your fancy, whether it's accepting quests from people that you meet on your journey, fighting pirates, trading supplies with various alien races, mining, or just simply cruising through the galaxy at your own pace. It's an absolutely massive game, featuring over 20 different solar systems to explore and a fully fledged story mode that will last you a good 10 hours or so. And that doesn't even take into account any of the side quests, which there are a hell of a lot to do. Considering the game only costs £3, which isn't even the cost of a Big Mac meal at McDonald's, Galaxy on Fire 2 really does offer great value for money of your hard-earned cash. Although that's probably a bad example, as you can't really eat Galaxy on Fire 2, but you know what I mean. Still, it certainly looks good enough to gobble up, as the game graphics are astounding, even on the iPad, which tends to show games up if their graphics aren't quite up to scratch. Fish Labs can really be commended for Galaxy on Fire 2. It is a truly fantastic game, and I'm seriously struggling to come up with any legitimate negatives. It is that good. The voice acting, although generally fine, can be a tad on the cheesy side at times, but it's a common occurrence with mobile games because mobile devs generally don't have the budget to bring in Hollywood voice talent. So it's not a complaint, I'm just being picky. I really do implore that you download it, and there's a light version available if you're not sure about it as well. And it's a universal app that's compatible with all devices, and it's coming out on Steam too, so if you fancy playing this game on your PC, you can as well, in HD glory. Woo! Finally this week, we've come to Telltale Games' first episode of The Walking Dead. Now, The Walking Dead is a point-and-click style adventure game that's based on the comics and television series of the same name, and it features lots and lots of zombies. Yes, zombies. I'm a huge zombie fan, and you've probably gathered from the sheer excitement of my voice, so I was extremely hyped when I found out I was reviewing this one. The Walking Dead games have had a huge critical commercial success on the PC, Xbox and PS3 platforms, so it came as no surprise to hear that Telltale were bringing them to iOS. Perhaps the biggest aspect that has gotten people so hooked on the series is its interactive storytelling. The Walking Dead is pretty much about making decisions, and those decisions shape the outcome of the storyline not only in episode 1, but across the entire series. Don't worry though, budding zombie slaughterers, the game isn't just one long cutscene. You'll encounter the undead a fair few times throughout the game, and when you do, things get pretty gory. Bonus. Still, it's pretty much a game about character development, so if you like to be in full control 100% of the time in a game and prefer to shoot things for hours and hours and hours on end till your hands bleed, then this probably isn't the game for you. It'll also take you about 1.5 hours to beat, but trust me, it is well worth it. Plus, due to the nature of the interactive storyline, you can go back several times and make different decisions which will result in entirely different outcomes. I really recommend that you pick this game up, The Walking Dead, even if you don't normally play point-and-click type games, because it's truly, truly brilliant and easily one of Telltale Games' finest efforts. It's got really simple controls, good graphics, great voicing and soundtrack, an immersive storyline, and zombies for pity's sake. Well, what more could you possibly ask for? The first episode of The Walking Dead is out now, and episode 2 will be coming shortly. Join me next week here on Respawn for the next Apptastic. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will hold you in my heart eternally. Maybe not, but I would be very, very grateful. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon.